my people are entrepreneurs or moms, so whoever like I am, people who love dancing, people who are fun, people who have like really good, positive energy, good outlook. They know they can do it. I don't work with fun suckers. Like if you're a fun sucker, please. Like I can't do fun suckers. Like we're just goofy and fun. And we kind of, I mean, if you've seen my TikToks, you know, like I'm just silly and goofy and I get a lot of trolls and I know like instantly like, hey, like, okay, if you're kind of picking at me because I'm dancing and talk about investing, then I'm not for you. Go listen to CNBC or whatever.
So give me let's give like a quick 2-minute who you are, what you're about, people that don't know who you are, where you've come from, and things you've overcome to get to where you are today, to Invest Diva.
All right. So my name is Kiana Danial. I'm the founder of Invest Diva, soon to be Wealth Diva. We're expanding.
Oh.
And we help people take control of their financial future. We actually started out with moms. And now we're expanding to more than moms because we found out that a lot of people need to be in charge of their financial future. So what we basically do is first we teach you how to become your own money manager. So understand where you stand financially, where you want to go and how to get there. We do that through a lot of financial literacy training, through a lot of investing training, but then we also teach you how to increase your income so that you can invest more because it's not just about how much you make. It's not just about how much you invest. It's both things. It is both things. Somebody can make $1 million and be broke, but we don't want you to be that. So that's what we do at Invest Diva.
Love it. Love it. And the other thing I think that's really important that at least I run it past, and I'm no financial whiz. I love crypto. I love investing. I've been in that world. I certainly wouldn't say you listen to anything I tell you. But the one thing I notice is a lot of people think that to invest, you need to have a lot of money. Yeah. And I always try to explain to people, it doesn't really matter how much money you have. It's just, if you have $100, if you start investing $10 of it, you're building your wealth, you're building whatever you make. The whole goal, this is ultimately my thought process, whatever you make, your goal is to keep it and then try to get that money to work for you. Right. So over time, it's like building a bridge, right? It's like over time, so you don't have a lot of money, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't start saving, right? And over time, it builds up a lot faster than you think.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly. It's time in the market, make it work for you, make it have babies.
You came from Wall Street. You're on TV all the time. How does that happen, by the way? How do you get all these appearances on television?
That you need to have a book. The moment you write a book, doors open on TV. Now, I'm not saying you have to be on TV to make a lot of money. It is great exposure. It adds to your credibility. But to be honest with you, it doesn't really add to the bottom line. It's just for credibility. Totally. I like doing it. You can become a millionaire or even a billionaire without going on TV. So if you don't like that, but the way that it happened really is because I write a lot of books, and every time I write a book, you get a push, and you have to push it. It's not like the publisher do it for me. I was the one going after it, and then you start becoming it's like an avalanche, right? So like you get on TV once and then you tell the other TV people, hey, I've been here. Do you want me there? So it's just like, it grows like that.
Yeah. So can you give us like a brief history of what happened on Wall Street and how you went from Wall Street, like the Wall Street world, the great, unbelievable, everybody, you're in Wall Street, you're in a hedge fund. Oh my God. Like, it's the coolest thing. And then the people that are in there are like, man, it's not that cool, but I like that people think it's cool. I remember when I was in a hedge fund and be like, I love that people think it's cool in a hedge fund, but I hate it. I just didn't like it. Like what happened with you in this world of how your journey was from this sell side, buy side to coming into becoming an entrepreneur and teaching other people?
Oh, I got fired. Plain and simple.
Perfect.
Because I definitely thought it was cool. It was a dream come true. I had only heard about New York, about Wall Street. I only had read about them or saw them on TV. Like I was in Japan before that. And then I was like, oh my gosh, for me, Wall Street was Hollywood. I was like, oh my gosh, if I can just walk on Wall Street, it's like, such an amazing place to be. And then once I got the job, I was like, oh my God, dream come true. And then, a year later, I was sacked.
Where were you working?
I was working at a broker that, in fact, no longer exists because the SEC went after them. and they were doing some shady things. So I was at a Forex broker.
Okay.
That's what I got exposed first into the trading investing world. And I thought that's the way to do it. I got lucky. I made some money in it. And then I found out that it's actually not the way to go. But that's funny because people are like, well, you don't trade Forex. You tell us not to trade Forex. My first book is about Forex trading. So people get confused. But that's how I got exposed. That's how I got started. And then, you're always growing. So I learned that it's not the best way to go.
So explain what a broker is, just so people can understand.
So a broker is basically a place or a person or a company that gives you access to the open market, whatever that market may be. So it could be foreign exchange. So what a foreign exchange market, Forex is where you can trade the US dollar versus the Japanese yen or euro. You can see brokers when you go to the airport in an international airport and you want to exchange your money to the currency of that country. Now that's a Forex broker. When you're trading stocks, you're going to need access to a stockbroker. Again, Stocks are traded on an exchange or the New York Stock Exchange. And then an ordinary person like you and I typically wouldn't have access to that. So brokers give you access. They're the middleman between you and the end goal. Now, cryptocurrency is a little bit different because cryptocurrency, the whole point is about taking out the middleman. Yep. So when you typically want to buy cryptocurrencies, you don't go to a broker, although brokers now do have that available, but you want to go to the exchange directly and purchase your crypto from the exchange directly. So that's the cool thing about cryptocurrency. That's the reason why I got into it now as well. It's not the only thing that I do, is one of the things that I do.
Yeah.
But that's what a broker is. It's a middleman.
Yeah. So you've been giving advice to people on how to invest their money.
I don't give advice. Hashtag not financial advice. I give education.
Education. Well, as a broker, isn't the broker's job to ultimately take a person and invest their money in some capacity to get them some ROI?
There are some brokers like that as well. So the broker that I used to work at was the platform. It was, they wouldn't trade your money for you. They would give you access to
like
markets.
A Charles Schwab or a TD.
Like a TD Ameritrade, Fidelity, they are all Robinhood, Public. These are all brokers. And that was a Forex broker that I worked at. But sometimes a broker can also be like a real estate broker. Like brokers, you can see brokers all over the financial industry.
Got it. So, okay. So you get axed. You're like freaking out. Your dream is over because you've been working your whole life to be on Wall Street. So what happens then? Like you're at your lowest, and now what happens?
I went lower than that. My boyfriend that I thought I was going to marry broke up with me. I ran out of money to pay rent. Like when one thing goes down, everything goes down. So
like a perfect
I kept going low and low and low and low. And then when I had the opportunity to hit rock bottom, which I really think is a blessing. Like sometimes you really have to hit rock bottom in order to okay, there's no lower than this. Like now I have to get back up. Back up.
Can't lose anything. Yep.
So that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to go my own way. And the whole thing, I was like, okay, I'm going to take things in my own hands. I don't need a man. I don't need a broker. I don't need a company. I'm going to do things my way. And that's when it started. And it was like the fact how this idea came to me that initially I only wanted to help women to take control of their financial futures because there are not enough women on Wall Street. And I also come from an engineering background. I was always the only girl in the room. So I was like, this is just like stupid. Like, why is this a male female thing? This is like everybody needs to engineering. Okay, whatever. But invest, like money has no gender. Like everybody needs to understand it. Everybody needs to invest. So that's how the idea came about. And it took me years to actually like get to the place that I am today, but relentlessness.
Yeah. So how does that happen? You go from rock bottom, you have $0. And I've seen you and your TikToks and all. You're so fun. I love what you do. It's so entertaining. You post your accounts of millions and millions of dollars that you have, but at some point you had zero. So from zero to where you are today, paint a little bit of a picture in between on like someone that's in that situation today. Cause I guarantee you there's somebody listening that's feeling as you were. What do you do? Like, what did you do? Like, it sounds great now, but like, what do you do? How do you get from $0?
Absolutely. So the first thing I did, so I know like that I'm Invest Diva and I'm promoting investing. Now, the first thing I did, I was at $0. You can't invest the money you don't have. So I had to make some money first. So I did start with side hustles, whatever it took. So I started teaching English to Japanese people online. I actually invested in myself. I learned how to read off a teleprompter. Again, English is not my first language, but I knew that I had to like kind of get my face out there. And I knew that I can't just speak out of like now I can speak without my notes, but back in the day I couldn't. So I invested in myself. I took a teleprompter course, and that was actually very interesting because that one investment in myself got me to get a job again back on Wall Street as a reporter on the New York Stock Exchange. So then I was now again surrounded by all the investors. So I was kind of killing two birds with one bird with, well, I'm sorry, two birds with one stone, something like that. And one or two, something like that.
Yeah, throw some stones.
Close enough. And so I got back into the game and I started again investing little by little as I was making more money. It was not a straight line. I did lose money. I did make mistakes. I did find out like it was a growth. So every time I call it my wealth ecosystem. And what it is that every time I went to the next level from $0 to $500, from $500 to $1,000, from 1,000 to 10,000, each step, I repeated these three things. You want to know what those three things are?
I would love to know what those things.
Super simple. It really is. Yes. But I invested in myself to learn an income producing skill. The next step is that I increased my income. So I made some money. Step number 3, I invested that income and then repeat to go to the next level. And that then eventually becomes an avalanche because as you make more money now, like back in the day, so the investment that I made in the teleprompter course was like $200. Now I invest in masterminds at like $150,000. So that's how you just keep growing and growing and growing, right?
Right. So you start making some money. So you educate yourself. So you have some skill set. Then you go and you monetize that skill set by making a few bucks. Then you take those few bucks outside of paying your bills and you make that money work for you. And then you go invest in yourself again
in the wheel
and keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And slowly it compounds like the Warren Buffett model of ultimately you having thousands and thousands and millions and billions of dollars.
That's the goal. I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it. Like once you get addicted to self-growth, it's just like, and that's like the joy of my life. I love learning. I'm always just investing in myself, learning the next skill. And at this point, it's not even about the money as much as it is that I just want to grow as a person. Sure. And the money is just an amazing bonus.
So when you're investing, like for me, when I think about investing, it's like, I guess you start to think about, and it's funny, you say educate versus giving advice, which is like a really like an important thing to separate because it's, no one can predict the future. No one can predict what's going to happen. And if there's somebody out there that's like, all right, I'm going to show you how to make money. And they're expecting you to come in and you tell me, I got to buy stock X, Y, and G, and then these ecos and buy those cryptos. And then all of a sudden the market, whatever reason goes down. And now I hate you because I lost money, right? Because you're wrong. You didn't do it. Okay. You suck. You said you'd make me money. I didn't make money, but like, that's not what it's all about, right? Like no one can predict the future. All you could do is position yourself the right way and get into the right vehicles and do it in a way where the one thing that I've learned, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong, but I believe the most important thing is managing your risk and the ability for you to not lose your shirt and survive in the game. And in that case, you can do whatever you want. Whether you want to be somebody that wants to invest in just a simple conservative Vanguard 500 fund, or you want to take all of it and put it into XRP, which is, by the way, my baby. But like I'm saying, either way, for whatever you're doing, like regardless, it's like my thought in my head is always like, all right, if you have $100, right? Well, what are you willing to lose of that $100? So is it $10? Is it 10%? Is it 20%? $20? And it's sort of what you just said of like, you just rinse and repeat. It's like, whether it's $100, $1 million, $10 million, or $20 million, it's all relative, right? It's just percentages of how you want to invest your money. And, it's just a risk level of, all right, you want to go after it and put it all into one thing. And listen, if it doesn't work, you could lose all of it or a good percentage of it. And it's going to suck, but like, you're still going to have your house and be able to pay your bills and your kids aren't going to even know that happened. Right. Versus the people that take all of their money or 90% of their money, and they go all in because they want to fast track and just like, it's like one of those get rich quicks. And then it doesn't work out. And like, even that, like when the market's down, like people, like I'm really heavy in crypto, and people are like, yo, are you freaking out? Are you? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm really not. I don't lose even an ounce of sleep. Do I like what's happening? No, I don't. I don't look at my P&L. Like when it's up, it's more fun to look at your P&L, but at the same time, it's just money that's there. That's not going to change my life. Right. It's there. I believe in what I'm invested in. So that makes it feel good because of the utility of it. But more importantly, I can live in my house. I can pay for my kids to eat lunch, and no one will have any idea. And if I'm stressing out about it going up or down, it's just on me. But still, at the end of the day, you don't invest what you don't have. Right. And I think like, from what I'm seeing, from what you're doing here, like the fact that you went from zero to, you want to show you, do you have your little, your accounts? You want to show everybody how freaking rich you are? You could be somebody's sugar mama.
Bring them up. Yeah, I can bring them up. Like I love it. I have a few of them, but
if anybody doesn't know, Kiana does these like awesome, like she's gotten really big into TikTok. You should probably like speak to that.
My days on TikTok may be dated because
really?
TikTok is like, has given me an account warning because apparently when you make a lot of money, you're a scam.
No.
So I'm going to be focusing on YouTube soon because I don't want to like get like, because I know people in crypto have completely got their accounts gone. Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? All right, I'm going to leave it be. It's just sad that, I mean, there are a lot of scammers, but anyways.
I will tell you that the best media on the internet is by far YouTube. YouTube and podcasts are the two best mediums on the internet because they never go away. They're there forever. TikTok, you make a TikTok, it runs, it goes viral for a little bit and then it's gone. But then,
totally. So that's my account. That's my TD Ameritrade. This is just stocks.
Boom. All right, people, check that out. 3.1 million.
48% down is $46,000 today. The markets are crashing. We're still about 3 million, which we are buying, by the way. So I have a lot of buy limit orders here, waiting for them to go through.
So that's interesting. Like, because people think the market's open, you should be sitting at your desk and just pushing buttons.
No, that's not what I do.
Right. And there are ways where you just, whether it's, I don't know if it's technical analysis or whatever you're doing, you're looking at entry points and sell points where you put these buy stops and sell stops, and it just triggers. There's the emotion is not there. You're not sitting
not there.
Right. It just happens or it doesn't happen. And sometimes you might get like, at least when I traded and I did that, the only time I hated it was like, I'd go to lunch and I'd put like, a sell stop or something. And then it would tick down like a few pennies. It would stop me
that's
out.
I don't do a stop anymore. Stops are scams.
I'd be so upset. I would be so upset.
No. Stop losses are a scam. I learned that when I was at the broker.
Yeah. Is that right?
Because the stop losses are a scam. Oh yeah. That's how I lost money. The only time I lost money was when I used a stop loss. So no, that's not how I do it. I actually, so what you said, first of all, is absolutely true. The first thing you need to do is understand your risk tolerance. And by risk tolerance, I don't mean your willingness to take a risk. That plays a factor. You may have naturally a high risk tolerance or a low risk tolerance. Personally, my natural state is medium. I'm like, I never go all in. I cannot do that. So that is your willingness. That's fine. The second thing you want to really measure is your ability to take a risk, which is again, what you kind of talked about is like how much money you can actually invest without it impacting your lifestyle. But the third thing is the thing you also mentioned is your certainty about the asset that you're investing in. Because if you're not certain about the asset, if you don't have confidence, personal confidence, and as to why you want to be exposed to this asset, then when the markets are volatile and with cryptocurrency, the volatility is not going to go away, you're going to get emotional. So you have to have such high certainty about the asset you invest in that you are going to be willing to not look at your portfolio when the markets go down. So what I do with the buy limit orders, so that the certainty has everything to do with fundamental analysis, understanding what you're getting yourself into, not just because Elon Musk said so, not just because Eric Beer said so, not just because Kiana Danial said so, because you actually went and understood what this company, what this cryptocurrency project is about and why you believe in it, right?
I had a story where I learned in a bad way where many years ago I invested in Netflix and I liked it. I thought it was a good play and like it went up a little bit. And I'm very good at holding on to losers and I have no idea how to I don't know how to get out of winners. I really don't. That's actually my biggest issue is I don't know how to win on the market. I know how to lose and double down. It's very easy to do that. I just hold it and then I keep buying more and cost averaging. But like when it's going up, it's a very hard thing for me.
Hard to get out. Yeah.
When Netflix went up, I ended up selling like the majority of it. I think I had like 3,500 shares. I thought 3,000, and then there was 500 shares left. It went from like 30 to like 280 or something. I was like, it was a great. And my buddy's like, you gotta sell. I'm like, no, I think I like this, but I'm not sure what it is. And it wasn't Netflix as it is today. The 500 was there. It was kind of like a B. And I just like, was like, you know what? I'm just selling it. Get rid of it. The thing ended up like going up to like $700. It split 7 for 1, went back up to $700. And like in my mind, I was like, I want to hold it. I want to hold it. I want to hold it. But I had no confidence of why I was holding it other than it just went up and there was money because it went from that number to this number. Right. So like with anything that I've been trying to do, I've been trying to have some confidence in this, like with the crypto markets and things we're doing, which kind of stinks, right? Because about a year ago it was like off the hook and now it's gone down. Then that's where I think like I need to understand a little better of like how you want to hold something, but you also need to take some profits along the way so that if things are coming out, and I don't know how to do that. I really don't know how to do that.
Oh, so I'll tell you. So what I do, would it be okay if I share?
Yeah, I would love for you to.
I used to get out actually. It really, again, depends on your financial situation, financial goals, because remember, every time you sell, even with a profit, you do have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
So I used to sell. I came up with a number that made sense for me. And again, I would set the sell limit order after I purchased to sell. And I'm a person that is never all in, again, because of my risk tolerance. So I would set 3 buy limit orders, buy it at 3 different places. And then when it starts going up, I would set 3 sell limit orders. One, I would like sell a third of it after 50% growth, another third of it after 75% growth, or whatever your number is. And that could take anywhere from 6 months to like 5 years. You never know how long it's going to take. So again, you strategize it ahead of time so that you don't get emotional about it. I used to do that before I was making a lot of money with my business. And it was great because it was cash flow and we could get back in. And that is how you compound, right? And then I got to a point that I was making so much money with my business that I was like, you know what? I don't need to sell. I'd rather not sell, not pay the taxes, and instead borrow against my portfolio if I need that money. So now that my portfolio is like above 3 million, I don't have to actually sell in order to take advantage of my portfolio. We want to buy a house. I'm going to borrow against my portfolio, pay my broker that interest, because then that growth rate that is going to go like long term. And again, this works better if you're like middle-aged, like maybe you may not be able to do it if you're like above 65 or 70, then you have to have a different strategy. But if you are below retirement age, this could be a great strategy that you're not going to pay taxes. You're going to borrow against your portfolio. You're going to let it grow. You're going to give it time. And the interest that you're going to pay yourself for borrowing against a portfolio is going to be lower than the average growth of a portfolio, which is average 8 to 10% per year. Of course, this year is going to be horrible. Last year was amazing. We had like 300% growth. This year we have like 100% like down. So it averages out about 8%. And the interest that you have to pay to borrow against your portfolio is about like 1.5%, which is much lower than borrowing than actually the growth that you're going to allow it to do. So that's what I'm doing right now. But again, it depends on your financial situation. Like,
that's really interesting. For you. I think anybody, like, just to break it simply, you have a certain amount of assets, and then what happens is there are markets like your platform will allow you to leverage that and give you, let's say, if you have $3 million, they may give you 50% that you can use against that 3 million. So they'll let you lend 1.5 million. And now you still keep your $3 million with your investments that are working for you. And you're taking that 1.5, you go use that to either reinvest or buy a house or whatever you need. So you're kind of leveraging both sides of things without having to come out of your pocket again and go take another 1.5 to have 4.5 million to do the exact same thing.
And pay taxes on top of it. Of course, there's risk involved with this, by the way. So I'm not like, definitely consult with a financial advisor, because you have to have enough in your portfolio. You have to have some backup guarantee that, if the markets crash, for example, like if I go borrowing against my portfolio $1.5 million and the markets crash even more than it has already, then I have to be able to cover for that so that I don't get a margin call. So there is risk involved.
Right.
But again, so you have to understand your financial situation and to see how much you can borrow against it in order for you not to get a margin call, not to get your account liquidated. But again, there are different ways for different financial situations. So
the one thing that you're really, listen, you're a professional, you're smart, and you're in a different place. And like you said, anybody that's a beginner, you just have, if you're going to start using this strategy from leverage, you just have to be careful, because what happens is, for cryptos, a lot of people were using margin. This just got just slumped. And now what happened was people get what's called a margin call. And then you got to then ultimately liquidate your entire position. And now you're just like, it could be a disaster if you don't know what you're doing. So you really need to have a really good strategy in place. You should probably take Kiana's courses just to understand how to do it before you do it. But really, like, educate yourself before you start doing that. But there's certainly a very good strategy. I do that with, see, I'm not that smart with the insurance stuff. I do it because I didn't understand the market. And people used to yell at me as a kid. I bought a lot of life insurance, like whole life insurance. My mom passed away at 54. And when she did, there was some money that came to my dad, and not that money changed anything, but I was like, wow, my mom kind of like took care of my dad a little bit, like in our family. And it was really cool. And it like made an impression on me to where like I started to buy some whole life and started learning about that vehicle. And to me, it was like, I don't know how to make money in the market. I'm crazy and I have a lot of risk. And I go up and down, like I don't do anything. I definitely need your course to understand how to do it the right way, because I'm a little wild and I love it. But I always thought the one thing I can guarantee is that I will die one day. So no matter what happens, I can have some money for my family. And I didn't even realize at the time when I was doing it, how powerful it was that the cash value, and then you can borrow against that cash value and then use that money to invest other ways, which like I kind of like got lucky in the beginning. And now I really understand how cool it is that I stopped putting a 529. I do it. I use whole life insurance for my college savings, with the idea of like, kind of like what you just said, killing two birds with one stone,
right.
Buying insurance, but also having the ability to have access to that money to then go use that money. And I'm paying myself the interest back when I borrow, and you could also do that with then just investing into the market with what you're doing. But so it's really cool. So I've seen you've been like blowing up. People have been doing this. I've seen so many success stories. I've actually met a few of your students. One student in particular, I don't want to say her name, but she loves you, like absolutely loves you, speaks volumes of how amazing you are. And you really made an impact on her life. And it looks like you're doing that for a lot of people. So like, now take us to today of where you are. You've got this $10 million award behind you. You've got so many books that you've published. I saw you one day, like do some, I think it was a TikTok or an Instagram or a story or something like, hey, here's how I wrote a book in 14 minutes. Like
it was 2 days. I mean,
like literally, like you wrote a book in like
I wrote, this is the one. It became a bestseller.
Like, I need wait, I'm talking on stage. Let me go write a book. Like, that's not normal. Like people take years to write books. You're just like, oh, well, yeah, let's take a weekend. And you like, but just the way your brain worked of like breaking it out into the framework of do this. It's really powerful. And I think for people, certainly for a guy like me, who's like the worst time management, just, kind of like hop on a stage and let's start talking instead of preparing. That's a really powerful thing for people like me to have that, to be able to look and follow a plan. And it seems like you've been able to take this crazy world of investing and building wealth and being able to dumb it down for people like me to be able to follow. And you're certainly making an impact. So tell us like a little bit about what that is today. Like you said, you're Invest Diva. Now you're turning to Wealth Diva. What programs are you promoting today? What's your value ladder look like? Who's your niche audience?
Thank you. And you're being humble. And thank you so much for like, oh my gosh. Well, what I'm really passionate about is the Invest Diva. So our best-selling thing that like obviously got us to blow up and help a lot of people in the meantime is that free masterclass that like is 90 minutes that I go through the whole thing, talk about the brokers, talk about the strategy, talk about the buy on the orders, all the things. So that is at investdiva.com/masterclass. It's investdiva.com/masterclass. And then from there, if you want to work more with me, you're welcome to do that. And so the book thing that you're mentioning, well, it becomes like you put it on a template. My first book, it took me a year to write. And then every time I wrote a new book, because I've written 7 books, So like it just becomes like, okay, now I know exactly what I want to do. And again, like textbooks are much easier in a way because you know exactly if you know who your target audience is, if you know how you want to help them, the chapters are basically like the steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 12 to get them the results. So that's how I wrote this book in 2 days.
That's so amazing.
But
meanwhile, so this free masterclass you have, this is how long is that?
It's 90 minutes.
Oh my
It
God.
runs every day.
I got to do do you know how I'm building software, Survey Detective, and it's all around like surveys and generating leads and gonna like ultimately try to get a cold lead into a higher ticket. And I'm like working on doing that. I haven't rolled out the software yet, but I'm doing it for a bunch of us influencers to kind of, one, prove out the concept, and two, show the people that I would be teaching on the lead gen side on how to build a lead gen business so that people can come in and use the software to do things like that for you, for example, right? Like if someone came to you and said, hey, I'm going to start generating like high valued leads that convert into your high ticket, you'd pay for those leads all day long. And whether you say yes or no, I could show you that you would. I could work backwards in how you would. But I definitely I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to do something for fun. It's going to be cool. We've been doing it for a bunch of different people. We're about to roll out. It's all around. There's a little like strategy that we use in videos. We just did one. Christine Morel was doing some videos the other day that was like kind of cool, and it got me. So once I start seeing like the attractive character do it, I think that we can get people into this free masterclass. And with you, with like how you're so fun on the video and like how you spit out to the world, I think it could be really powerful. So I'm putting you on my list of people that we need to reach out to your team to do that for. And we do all the work up until it's all performance based. But the idea is to prove it out so that when they see that you're getting another 10 million bucks because of that, boom.
Oh, that's going to be cool. That's going to be a proof of concept.
and then we go and invest it. But so when people come to this free masterclass, they're coming in. The idea is that you're going to bring them in, educate them. And then what's the next step on what they're doing with you? You say they can hang out with you. Like, not really. You're pretty popular. And, yeah.
I mean, no, so
what does that mean by like hang out with you? Like, because your time is super valuable, right? So it's like, is there training videos? There
are different levels. Obviously, there's a value ladder. So at the bottom of the value ladder, we have the perfect webinar or the training that I just talked about. But I do educate. So the masterclass, it is our best. Like 200,000 people have gone through it, have taken a lot out of it. So the masterclass itself is actually full of value. I have obviously my books, my better books that if you want to read are Cryptocurrency Investing for Dummies and $1 Million Family Secrets. So these are at the bottom of the value ladder. The next level are our courses. So we have 2-tier courses. One is just for investing, so make your money work for your power course. And then the other one, we call it the Start Building Your Wealth Challenge, which is more for entrepreneurs. And then from there, then we have an accelerator group where that is where you have access to me. And we have a diamond group, which is like my inner circle, like VIP. So it's basically 4 steps. So the bottom of the ladder, the books and the free masterclass. Then we get to the power course, the 2 courses. And then we get to the mastermind and the diamond inner circle.
So it's funny. Like most people think when you're out in the world, you're like trying to get clients and bring anybody in. And we've been able to get to a place where you don't necessarily have to go and look for clients. You decide on who you want to work with.
Oh, yeah.
So it's, who are you allowing to work with you?
Right. Oh my gosh. Let me tell you who I'm not allowing. Cause like, it's been such a whirlwind, right? Who I'm not allowing to work with me, not because I have anything against them, but it's just because I just don't have, like, at this point, I want to have fun if I'm working with somebody.
Sure.
So people I'm not allowing, I don't have anything against you. I'm sorry. I'm not meaning to insult people who may be that way, but I don't work with day traders. I don't do day trading. I don't want to be against, like, I don't want to be in that energy. There are amazing people in that world. I don't do that. I don't do scalping. What my people are entrepreneurs or moms, so whoever like I am, people who love dancing, people who are fun, people who have like really good, positive energy, good outlook. They know they can do it. I don't work with fun suckers. Like if you're a fun sucker, please. Like I can't do fun suckers. Like we're just goofy and fun. And we kind of, I mean, if you've seen my TikToks, you know, like I'm just silly and goofy and I get a lot of trolls and I know like instantly like, hey, like, okay, if you're kind of picking at me because I'm dancing and talk about investing, then I'm not for you. Go listen to
Totally.
CNBC or whatever. So
Go have some fun. I
yeah.
totally get that. So like if someone's listening to you and they're like, she seems awesome. I want to work with her, but I don't have enough money. Like, are there certain levels of income where they would start with you? Could someone come in and just be at the diamond level and have, $1,000 in their pocket? Or is it more of
so diamond level? Yeah. So if you don't have any money, if you're just getting started, if you have like $50 in your pocket, just take the free masterclass. I literally do give you the tools to get to the next level. So start there. If you want to become an entrepreneur, read my other book, $1 Million Family Secrets. If you buy it at $1millionfamilysecrets.com, you get $700 worth of bonuses. Go make some money. And then it's a value ladder. So sure. No, like for our diamond, like you have to have made at least $1 million to be able to take advantage of it, because otherwise it's going to be pointless for you to like talk, like it's gradual. Like it's how I went from 0 to 500 and 500. Like what I needed then is different than what I need now. And it's going to be the same for everybody. So
I'm going to get the links from you. We'll have them down below somewhere where you guys can all click and find Kiana to do all of these things if you want to get started wherever you are in your life. I would normally not ask this, but because I know you're someone who has crazy amount of frameworks, if you had to leave us with one key framework that all of us investors could live our lives by, what would you say to me at like a dinner party or in an elevator when hey, Kiana, like what can I do? And you'd be like, do this, and this. What is that?
Love it. Let's do it. Listen, I call it the Invest Diva Diamond analysis for investing, right? So Invest Diva Diamond analysis is like a diamond. Diamond has 5 points. How many points? 5 points. Point number one, we talk about the framework here. I'm just going to recap it over here. So point number one is called capital analysis. So capital analysis, understanding your risk tolerance, your financial goals, what's happening, cash flow, net worth, all the good stuff. Point number two is intentional. So capital, point number one. Two, intentional. Know what exactly your goal is, what your 1 year goal is, what your 5 year goal is, what your 10 year goal is. So you create those financial goals, intentionally creating the strategy. So capital, intentional. Point number three is fundamental. We talk about this, gaining certainty about the asset you're investing in. You go and do fundamental analysis. What is fundamental analysis? Is understanding what that company or asset is about, where it's going to be in 5 years time, in 10 years time. Fundamental analysis. What I don't do is reading their earnings report. I think that's for day traders. If you're a long-term value investor, all you need to know really is have certainty if this company or asset is going to be around in 5 or 10 years. So we had capital, intentional, fundamental. Point number four is technical. So I do chart pattern price analysis because history repeats itself. And looking at the chart, you can basically just look at the history and make decisions based on what has happened before and what could happen in the future. It's not going to give you exact answers, but it's going to give you an idea of the rhythm of the market. And that's how I set my buy limit orders. That's how I set my sell limit orders if I want to sell. And point number five is sentimental. Markets are all about sentiment. It has nothing to do with math. It has everything to do with the market sentiment. So I go and see what other people are feeling. Are they feeling like they're going to buy or going to sell? Typically, you want to go against what the market is actually feeling and in the short term and go against the crowd. Be the black sheep.
Against the crowd.
That's what I do. So it's capital, intentional, fundamental, technical, and sentimental.
So figure out what you have, know your goal, have some confidence, buy low and sell high, and do the opposite of what everybody else is doing.
Typically, because the masses, like what's happening in the news, and I'm on the news all the time. The only times that I'm getting called to be on the news is either the markets are crashing and they want me to just hype it up a little bit more, or the markets are going really up and again, they want to hype it up. And I tell my students, like, whatever I say on TV, I mean, I try to educate, but I know why I'm there is to hype up the whatever that's happening. So turn off the news. I mean, be aware of it.
Sure.
But turn it off.
Totally. I don't
make decisions based on it.
So funny. Well, thank you so much. I know you're busy. I really appreciate your time. You are amazing. I'm going to put all the stuff in here below for you to click and find her. She's awesome. If you're looking to increase your wealth, learn about investing, she is your woman. She is your mentor. She is the one. So you're fun. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much, Eric. It's so fun always.
All right. We'll see you on TV. Take care.
Yeah.